Hello, everybody, and welcome back here at another episode of BSN Network. Today is Tuesday, June 14th. Hopefully, everybody's having a day so far and had a good rest of their day yesterday. It is, in fact, Tuesday, June 14th, coming off of Game 5 of the NBA Finals last night. Obviously, not much sports on last night. I was watching some baseball other than Game 5 of the NBA Finals and some of the other baseball that was on. Obviously, no hockey, no Yankees or Mets, and it's funny because when both New York baseball teams are playing so well, and especially at the same time, right? I mean, the Yankees and the Mets are, the first two teams in baseball to reach 40 wins. They're dominating each of their, divisions in the NL East and the AL East, respectively, with the Yankees in the AL and the Mets in the NL. And, when you have a day off like that, it's almost like as a fan, it stinks because you just want to watch as a Yankee fan, you just want to keep watching this Yankee team win. I mean, that's really what you want to do. And as a Met fan, you just want to keep watching the Mets win and win and win. Obviously, Yankee fans, you'll get up against the Rays today. As a Yankee fan today, I'm pumped up for tonight's game. I think it's gonna be a big game tonight. It's a big opportunity, for this team tonight to get a big win similar to what they did in Tampa. Get this series off to a good start, take the series win, and then head to Toronto for a big series. And this is a big stretch for the Yankees. You got Tampa, you got Toronto, you got Tampa, and then you have Houston. So this isn't no, stretch of the Cubs and the Orioles and the Red Sox who are bad and, all these other teams. This is a good, couple games against a good couple teams, and this is where you could really take your record from 44-16 and really make it even better with some really good wins against really good teams. So that starts tonight with a first game of the three-game set at home. Wrap up a little homestand against the Rays before heading out on the road for 6 games. I believe it's a 6-game road trip starting in Toronto and ending in Tampa. Then they'll be back home for a 4-game set starting next Thursday against Houston, which I'm looking forward to. Because now every time Houston's on the road, and especially Yankee Stadium, you always got to expect boos. You always got to expect the opposite of a warm welcome for Jose Altuve in terms of, the FU chants, the booing, and all that stuff. Nasty Nestor nights Friday night of that week. So should be a good series there as well. So Yankees tonight against the Rays. Mets, home sweet home. They're finally back home after a 10-game West Coast road trip in which they went 5-5 in. They're back home tonight. First game of a 3-game set against the Brewers as they open up a homestand here. You got the Brewers and you got the Marlins coming into town. So if you can get through the Brewers and then you got a Marlins who should, you should beat them. I mean, they're the Marlins. They're a better team than last year. They're not an easy team to beat. I mean, they're beatable. They're very beatable, but they're not terrible. I mean, they're not the Orioles. They're not the Royals. They're not one of those really bad teams, but a team that the Mets should take care of business. So an opportunity for the Mets after a 5-5 West Coast road trip to really start to get back into their consistent winning ways with a homestand against a Brewers team that recently has been struggling a little bit, and in the Marlins, who we all know not as great as a team as some of the other teams out there. So Yankees Mets tonight. So that should be good. Looking forward to that. Stanley Cup tomorrow night. That's really it. No Ranger hockey tonight. Would have been Game 7. I'm, I got up today and you're thinking to yourself, all right, well, what's on tonight? And you're looking at, Yankees and Mets and all that stuff. And I was talking to somebody earlier today, and I was thinking to myself, like, look, like it stinks. Tonight could have been Game 7 at the Garden. I would have been, we would have been all pumped up. We would have been all excited. Tonight would have been Game 7 at Madison Square Garden for the right to go to the Stanley Cup. That would have been fun, but that's not the case. Obviously, their season ended on Sunday, so now all of our focus completely shifts to the baseball teams, and especially with the Yankees on tonight, my favorite team, as you all know. So that's what's going on tonight. Stanley Cup starts tomorrow, and in the NBA Finals, Game 6 is Thursday. So got to look out for those games as well. All right, so topics for today. We're going to go with one topic and then the New York sports update. Due to timing, I'm only going to be able to get one topic in today just due to timing issues. I should not have any really many short podcasts that I'm going to do anymore. I'm going to do basically really long ones today just the way things line up. I'm going to have to do a little bit of a shorter one, so I'm going to try to keep it to, about 20 minutes at most. I mean, I kind of have to keep it within 20 minutes because I got, just due to timing. So we're going to get to the Warriors and the Celtics. We're going to recap Game 5. It was a wild one. Steph Curry did not make a three-pointer. If you would have told me that Steph Curry did not make a three-pointer, I would have thought that the Warriors would have gotten smoked. That was not the case. Warriors got the win. Despite them shooting 22% from three, they got the win. And they take a 3-2. They take a 3-2 series lead as the series shifts back to Boston for Game 6 on Thursday. We'll get to that, and we'll get to the New York sports update. Like I said, Yankees Mets tonight. The Yankees against the Rays. Mets against the Brewers. A rare occurrence where the Yankees and the Mets are both home. Usually one's home, one's away. This is a rare occurrence where we see both teams in their home stadium. So a lot going on tonight in the city of New York. With the two baseball teams on and both at home. So, a lot to look forward to tonight. With all that being said, let's get to this recap. This is the BSN podcast, and let's get right into it. So, last night was Game 5 of the NBA Finals. Going into last night's game, it was a 2-2 series tied. Celtics won Game 1, Warriors won Game 2, Celtics won Game 3, Warriors won Game 4, and then last night, the Warriors won Game 5. So the way this series is going, you would probably go on to say that Celtics would win Game 6 because it's kind of been every other. Despite the Warriors winning 2 straight, you would think, okay, maybe this is, every other. But, you would think that the Celtics would win Game 6. Game 7 would be at home for the Warriors. So it's definitely an interesting situation. It would definitely be a lot of fun if that is the case. I think that would be a great game. Game 7 of an NBA final. Game 7 in any sports. Baseball Game 7, hockey Game 7. Game 7s are the 2 best words in all sports. So that would be great. But the Warriors take a 3-2 series lead. And look, now the Warriors are in control. The first team to get to those 3 wins, they're in control, right? You get to the 3-win mark, unless if you're coming back from down 3-1 and you tie the series, doesn't mean you're in control. But you take a 3-2 series lead. You got to find a way to win one more, and Boston's got to find a way to win 2 in a row here. Their backs are now against the wall. They got to win, 2 games in a row. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And for Boston, they got to find a way to win 1 game on the road, which since Game 1, they just haven't looked the same on the road. And last night, if you would have told me that the Celtics were going to win, or were going to lose a game in which Steph Curry did not connect on a single three-pointer, and the Warriors were going to shoot 9 of 40 from 3, and we know how reliant the Warriors are on the three-point ball. We know how reliant they are. Klay Thompson, big part of their team, big three-point guy. Steph Curry, big three-point guy. He's the best three-point shooter. He's the best shooter of all time. There's not much debate. Ray Allen is in the passenger seat at this point, and many others amongst them in that car of greatest shooters. Steph Curry's the driver. Steph Curry last night went 0 of 9 from 3. Andrew Wiggins, 0 of 6 from 3. Now, Wiggins played great. He stepped up big time. Curry only had 16 points. He went 7 of 22 from the field in 37 minutes of play. So, coming off of that great game where he put up, 43 was awesome. In Game 4, got a big road win to tie the series up going back home. Last night was terrible. But guys like Andrew Wiggins stepped up. Klay Thompson shot 50% from the field. He had 21 points. Jordan Poole stepped up, shot 50% from the field. Even Gary Payton stepped up in his limited role of 26 minutes. He went 6 of 8 from the field in the shots that he took. He also had 5 rebounds on top of that. I mean, this is a game where you look at the stats. The Warriors were actually the better team, dishing out the ball, dishing out assists. They were the better team. And, they were passing the ball. They were getting the ball around. I mean, they had 23 assists, Celtics had 18. Celtics really weren't moving the ball much. I mean, to be honest with you, game 3, the Celtics, I mean, everybody was connecting. Jaylen Brown was on. Game 3 was awesome. Jaylen Brown played well. Marcus Smart played well. Tatum, he was all right, but he did what he needed to do. Game 4, Tatum struggled. And then last night, yet again, Tatum that was probably Tatum's best game of the series. I would say that was Tatum's best game of the series last night. He went 10 of 20 from the field, which is 50%, shot 5 of 9 from 3, over 50%, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, had 27 points. That was his best game, I think, of the series, and I don't think there's much debate. But the issue was, you didn't get much out of your other guys. Jaylen Brown went 5 of 18 from the field, including 0 of 5 from 3. Marcus Smart was solid. He was good. And Robert Williams was solid, all right. But other than that, there wasn't much. Your bench really didn't step up much, and some of the guys that played a little bit more of extended minutes. Warriors actually stepped up a little bit defensively, I will tell you that. Holding the Celtics from under 100 points. I mean, last night's game got off to a real sluggish start. The first half was really sluggish. I mean, there wasn't much going on. Celtics scored 16 points in the first quarter. It was the second half where things really started to heat up. And the Celtics had a big third quarter. And the Warriors' defense did not play well at all in the third quarter. But the Warriors stepped up in the fourth and got the 10-point win. And that's the biggest part of it. They got the win. Was it pretty? Not really. Your best player, arguably one of the best players of all time, he is one of the best players of all time. Not the best, but one of the best of all time, went 0 of 9 from 3. Your specialty is 0 of 9 from 3. My bad. Your specialty is 3-point shots, and he didn't make one of them. So you got to give credit to Andrew Wiggins, because without Andrew Wiggins last night, we're probably looking at a 94 to 80 victory for the Celtics, where the Warriors offense just does not show up, and it was bad, and they're walking off the court down 3-2, going back to Boston, got to win a game on the road. So if you're a Warrior fan today, you got to be pumped up about Andrew Wiggins, because he saved you. 43 big minutes, 13 rebounds. That was more than anybody on the team. Draymond Green had a quiet night, 6 fouls. I mean, what are we doing? Draymond Green. So Wiggins was the MVP last night, no doubt about it. You could probably say that was one of his better games of his career, playoff career, and he was a big factor in that Warriors win. And what I find crazy about all these games, and this NBA Finals has been so weird, because Game 1, you had Boston win. I mean, look, it's not really weird. I guess this is kind of what you want, sometimes the underdog stepping up. But in Game 1, Boston won, right? Came back from that big deficit. Who got them? Who led them back? Al Horford, who was shooting threes. Game 2, it was all Steph Curry. Not much else help. Not much other help. So for that big three that they have, not much help. Game 3, Celtics all of a sudden, all three of their guys step up. Game 4, it was all Steph Curry. Tatum was bad. Last night, Tatum was good. Nobody else helps him. And Steph Curry was awful. But, here comes Andrew Wiggins. So, that's what I mean. That's what I mean in terms of why it's just been a crazy series. It's been all over the place. You can still make the argument that neither team has every guy on their team has been on at the same time. And a lot of times that's what you see in playoffs. We're all pieces of the rosters are clicking, and you got a fun series. This has been a series. That's why it's been so back and forth, because one night this team's got the high hand, next night this team does. One night Curry's making threes, and people are, this is all great. Next night he's shooting 0 for 9. One night Wiggins is not, Wiggins is buried on the team, not really doing much, and the next night he's the hero, and he's the reason why you're up 3-2. So last night, slow start. Warriors and the Celtics both actually stepped on the gas pedal in the second half, scoring a lot more points, generating a lot more chances, getting a lot more space. Some of that could have been too, both teams getting some urgency. There's a little bit more of, quickness, quickness with your passes, a little bit more, smarter plays, not just trying to get off to an early lead, when you really, sometimes the first half, I've always said this in games, first half is a lot of times a feeling out process. Even in a 7-game series, it sometimes is, because you're going to always, every game you're going to roll out maybe a little bit of a different look here or there. So it's always kind of a little bit of a feeling out process. First drive in the NFL, that's why you don't see many first drive touchdowns, because it's a feeling out process for the offense. You could say the same thing about the defense, but I'd say the defense has the advantage to start. It's kind of a feeling out process for the offense of what they're going to throw out at you. Same thing in hockey. More like the first 5-10 minutes in hockey of the first period is kind of an, all right, let's get the tempo of the game going. Let's figure out what they're doing, and then we'll really start to play our game. Basketball, same thing. First couple possessions, first quarter or two, first half, it's kind of like, all right, these plays will work. This is gonna work. We're gonna have space on this play. I'm okay shooting this. this guy's going to be open here. You kind of get that stuff. And even in baseball, same thing too. Your first at bats are always going to be a little rusty because you're trying to feel what the pitcher's got, what's working for him that night. That's why managers tend to take guys out in the second and third inning. So we saw that last night. Or not second and third inning, second and third round through the order, because guys start to catch up on what he's doing. And that's what the whole analytics thing now, But that's what I'm talking about here in terms of basketball. It looked like both teams were kind of a feel-out process early on. Especially the Celtics. They were really struggling to buy points early on, only scoring 16 in the first quarter. So second half was much more quick. Teams playing with tempo. I also think, look, you get the 3 wins tonight, especially for Boston. Boston wins last night's game. You're talking about going back home with a chance to clinch it, which is heavily in their favor. So, look, this series I still believe is up for grabs, because if you're a Boston fan, you're still thinking to yourself, look, this team completely all three, Smart, Jaylen Brown, and Tatum, all been on in the same night. And you also have to think, okay, is this maybe the start of a shooting slump for Curry? I don't think it is, but if you're a Boston fan, maybe you're thinking, all right, I think last night was just a rare off night for Curry. You're going to have those. He's human. Yes, people. Steph Curry's human, right? Not many people know that because he is so good. But if you're a Celtic fan, look, it's obviously a tough loss, especially when Curry struggles that much. And for Boston, that's a tough loss, because when your best player, when a star player, we're not just talking about Klay Thompson struggling, because he's had some nights in this series where he's really struggled. We're not talking about Draymond Green. We're talking about Stephen Curry here. We're talking about their best player, the face of the franchise, arguably the best player in basketball, one of the best of all time, not making a single three-pointer in 9 tries last night. And you can't win. That's tough. So for Boston, if you're Boston, you just got to hope, look, we get back home, we win, and you know how I feel on Game 7s. No matter who's home, home field, obviously you have the advantage, but it's Game 7, anything happen. You get a rebound, or you get a ball that tips your way. You get a fast break. You get a ball that bounces right into your hands, or you jump up and grab a rebound that maybe you weren't expecting to get. You make a contested shot. It could just be one of those little moments in Game 7s that completely change the trajectory of a game. So 104-94 last night. It was not a pretty night shooting. Warriors as a team shot 46.6% and shot. If you were a fan of three-pointers, last night was not the game for you. Warriors shot 9 of 40 from 3. That's crazy. Just think about that for a second. 9 of 40 from 3. Steph Curry did not make a single 3. The game before, Steph Curry made 7 threes and 43 points. As a team, they had 15 threes in Game 4. Curry had 7. Last night, they had 9. Curry had none. So Curry in Game 4 almost matched the amount the entire team had last night. That just goes to show you how off they were, and especially Curry going 0 for 9. So they shot 9 of 40 from 3, which is good for 22.5%. They had 39 rebounds, which they got out-rebounded by Boston. They had 23 assists, which was better than Boston. 28 fouls, and obviously 104 points. And for Boston, they shot 41.3% from the field, 34.4% from 3, 47 rebounds, 18 assists, 16 fouls, 94 points. And if you're just, if you don't even look at the score, and you just look at the numbers here, I would go at, if you're just looking at the shooting percentages and, the points by each player, you're going with Boston. You're going with Boston that wins this game. And I watched some of the game, and I went to bed, and then I watched the rest of the highlights, and I got up and looked at my phone, and I saw, in the morning, I saw Curry. I looked at his stats, and I saw Curry went 0 for 9. And I'm like, hold on a second. 0 for 9, and the Warriors still won? And then I see Andrew Wiggins just went on full-on, GOAT mode and turned into prime MJ out there and carried them to that victory. So, big win for the Warriors, take a 3-2 series lead, and look, Boston now, you know what you got to do. You got to win 2 straight, 1 at home and then 1 on the road. And for the Warriors, got to find a way to just win 1 game, whether that's Game 6 on the road or come back Game 7 and defend home court and win that. So that's where we're at in the NBA Finals. Warriors take I shouldn't say commanding, because 1 game puts the series right back up in the air. But Warriors take a 3-2 series lead and are 1 win away from yet another NBA Finals championship victory. All right, so that's what I got for the Warriors versus Celtics Game 5 recap. Game 6, by the way, will be Thursday night, 9 Eastern on ABC, so the usual timing and channel for Game 6. The only difference with that, obviously, that will be in Boston. Boston enters 3.5-point favorite, so for those of you who are interested in the odds, that's that. All right, so let's get to fantasy baseball, New York Sports Update, and all that good stuff here today. Like I said, hockey starts tomorrow with Game 1 of the Stanley Cup in Denver, Colorado, Avalanche Lightning. So I'll probably preview that tomorrow. I plan on doing that. Probably do a preview for that, and then another topic, whatever I find. And then obviously Game 6 will be Thursday for the NBA. So NHL and NBA in full swing right now in both of their championships, Stanley Cup and the NBA Finals. All right, so let's get to the New York Sports Update, fantasy baseball, and the rest of the MLB. You got Nationals, Braves tonight, Marlins, Phillies, Orioles, Blue Jays, A's, Red Sox, Brewers, Mets. We'll get to that more in a second. White Sox, Tigers, Pirates, Cardinals, Astros, Rangers, Cubs, Padres, Guardians, Rockies, Reds, D-backs, Giants, Royals, Dodgers, Angels, Twins, Mariners. Brewers, Mets play tonight. Mets come into tonight's game 40-22. Brewers come into tonight's game 34-28. His game's on tonight, 7:10 p.m. Eastern on SNY. Adrian Hauser's on the mound for the Brewers. He's 3-6 with a 3.92 ERA, and the Mets have Chris Bassett on the mound, coming off a tough start in San Diego. He's 4-4 with a 4.35 ERA. Over/under set at 8. But it's going to be an interesting game because both those pitchers are coming off of a couple tough starts. So that's going to be an interesting game to see how those guys bounce back. And as for the Yankees and Rays, tonight's game goes on 7:05 p.m. Eastern on TBS. You can also find it on Yes. So for those of you who don't get Yes and usually wait for them to be nationally televised, tonight's a nationally televised game. It is on TBS, so you can watch it on TBS, or obviously if you have Yes, it is also on Yes. Yankees come into tonight's game 44-16. Rays come into tonight's game 35-25. Rays have Corey Kluber on the mound. He's 3-2 with a 3.88 ERA, and the Yankees have Garrett Cole on the mound. He's 5-1 with a 3.63 ERA, coming off a rough start in Minnesota. He looks to bounce back tonight, back at home. Over/under set at 8. And, Yankees look for their 45th win of the season and look to continue to take a commanding division lead. All right, as for fantasy baseball in my money league, I am losing 37-17, but I got 4 pitchers going today. Logan Webb, Chris Bassett, Tony Gonsolin, and Zach Eflin. And in my other league, I guess you want to call it my secondary league, I am currently winning. Let's see here. Where are we here? I'm currently, I'm all over the place here. To get to my other league. I'm currently winning or losing 37-24. I got Logan Webb and Trevor Rogers on the mound for that league. By the way, the Yankees released their lineup. So Yankees released their lineup. So we'll get to that. By the way, I keep pressing fantasy basketball. Webb, Bassett, Gonsolin, Eflin in my other league. I also took Jonathan India off the IL and dropped Aviso Garcia in my main league. So here's the Yankees lineup for tonight, for those of you who are interested. And then I'm going to wrap things up here. So tonight, Yankees got, both teams are out. So the Rays are rolling Yandy Diaz, Harold Ramirez, Manuel Margot, G-Man Choi, Rosarena, Kiermaier, Paredes, Mejia, and Taylor Walls. Yankees are going with, I like this lineup. I like it. One guy specifically I like that he's in. Boone rolling with a hot bat. LeMahieu playing third leadoff, Judge batting second playing center, Rizzo batting third playing first, Stanton batting fourth playing right, Torres batting fifth playing second. This is what I like right here. Matt Carpenter batting sixth playing DH. Like that, I like to see that from Boone. Riding with the hot hand. Had 7 RBIs the other day. He deserves to get, consistent at bats in his lineup if he continues to hit like he is. Falefa batting seventh playing shortstop, Trevino batting eighth playing catching, and Gallo batting ninth playing left. I believe Josh Donaldson's suspension got upheld, so that's probably why he's not in the lineup today. I believe it got upheld, so I guess he would serve that today's game. But I guess we'll see. So it got upheld because he appealed it. So I guess he'd served that today's game or something like that. If so, I don't know. They probably wouldn't call, because they usually go with 4 bench players. I guess they would just roll with 3. They probably wouldn't call somebody up for today's game just for one. I mean, maybe they would. I don't know how that works always with suspensions, if you're allowed to. I mean, it's only one game, but I don't know really how that would work with the Yankees and what they would do in terms of roster spot for one game. But I saw it was upheld. I don't know when. I think he would probably serve it today, I'd assume. I don't see why he wouldn't. Just serve it today and get it done with and move on from it. But I don't know. I don't know how it's going to play out. So, anyway, that will do it for today's podcast. Another good podcast in the books. I'll be back at it tomorrow. So, as you all know, the usual. See you all back here tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.